Hello everyone, I'm here with UltraViolet from M80 and we're here to talk about the main event, everything leading up to it and the expectations and how they can maybe get that treasured spot to Dallas. But before we go into that, EV, I wanted to ask you a little bit about Stage 1 because obviously not too bad a Stage 1 really, third overall, but particularly tough losses against Toronto and Timers. Could you maybe talk a little bit about what you felt went wrong in those series and what you've kind of learnt from it?
I think that in stage one, our teamwork and our composure, especially in matches, wasn't very good. We're still kind of a new team, figuring out waking up players early in the morning and all of these other excuses I can come up with. But yeah, this wasn't a great performance in stage one.
And then, because you weren't satisfied waking one person up at 5 a.m., you decided to get Happy and Lyar in so you can get a couple more people waking up in the wee hours. What have Happy and Lyar kind of added to the team since they've come in?
I think with Lyar especially, he brings a lot of obviously I'm playing with him on Winthrop University already, and I just like playing with him because he's really he's a really nice support duo where he kind of fills in the comms and the kind of plays where I want him to be. It's like as a support player, it's a perfect main support for me. And then for Happy, I think that he brings a lot of veteran leadership, but he's also obviously a very skilled hitscan player, and he's pretty smart, has good comms.
I wanted to ask a bit about how, because for a long time now you've had to deal with factoring in Pelican and then Happy's schedule as well. So what would a normal day look like when you were trying to fit in review and scrims, and obviously for some of you collegiate as well?
I mean, that's the thing. So until they got here recently, we couldn't even consider doing 3 blocks. So that'd be waking them up at even earlier, 4 a.m. and that's just don't want to do that to anyone. Other team won't like it, we won't like it. It's just not gonna be a good time. And then along with that, we also had never scrimmed an EU team yet because of the 300 ping and all of that. So we're actually going to start scrimming them this week, but yeah, so there are a little bit of limitations on that front.
And then now they're finally in North America, good ping, good time zone, they can have a normal schedule. How does it look now? Are you have be able to fill out the day a lot more? Is it just a nicer environment now? They're not having to wake up so early as well, easier to manage?
Yeah, I think the environment's nicer. It's it's kind of the level of what do you call it? I guess professionalism almost, in this OWCS environment, from going from them waking up at 4 a.m. or 6 a.m. or whatever, and scrimming 2 blocks and 200 ping, and then coming here, it's almost like a team house, and we're actually able to scrim at normal times, and they're playing on normal ping. It actually I feel it not only are we playing better, but it also helps just the environment feel we're not being handicapped anymore.
And how does it look really in the sort of internal comm structure? Because obviously some of the players have overlapped before. Obviously you and Hawk have played together before, and Hawk's played with Pelican before. What's the sort of comm structure in terms of who's taking? Is there one person doing most of the leadership or in-game calls, or is it shared around a lot?
I've always been or at least more recently, I've become more of a leader and calling a lot more. But I think in stage 1, I had to call a ton, but with the team becoming more comfortable, and I think especially Lyar and Hawk in the second stage, I think been really good with pushes and rotates and helping those mid fights. I think me and Lyar are typically the ones that are come back, stop pushing, we need to heal up, and the rest of the team's the push, go now. Yep.
And I wanted to get a bit of an idea of the internal dynamic in the team. So if you tell me which of your teammates is the sort of answer to these questions. So if you had to say someone who was the most intelligent on the team, who would you say?
I don't know if I can really serve our Korean just like because of the language barrier. Like I don't really
Yeah.
like I can talk to them, but like I don't like really like know like them that well yet. So
Yeah.
like at least like the rest of the team I think me.
Okay.
But yeah.
And then who would you say is the funniest teammate?
Definitely Lyar.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lyar's got them all like speaking in Japanese and like singing TikTok songs mid scrim and all of that.
And then what about if I said biggest grinder?
Maybe Happy. I think Happy and Pelly both like the like as soon as they came, like they're just like playing ranked till like 3 a.m. every single day. Just nothing else.
Putting in the big hours.
Yep.
And then what about biggest complainer?
Biggest complainer? Um Maybe like Hawk, but I don't mean that like in a bad way. I think just like sometimes Tank is just kind of like that, like getting
Having a
just
hard
the role
time.
itself and just like
Yeah.
you need like your team to be there with you, like you're either carrying or you're inting, that kind of type of stuff.
And then obviously you're one of the teams as well that have a pretty big well, everyone's been in Overwatch League before. What do you think is how different is your experiences in playing in an Overwatch League team compared to playing in this OWCS team now?
It's definitely funny because like I was saying, like just like we all have so many like different like obligations and things like we need to do. Like me and Lyra just have like class in the morning, like the Koreans just like in Korea for half the stage. But yeah, it's definitely a very different environment. The money is obviously not as high, but I think especially leading to the tournament, I think everyone still like really wants to win and really wants to show what we can do.
I think especially with Timeless sort of dropping out probably way sooner than anyone expected, it's opened up the door massively now for those last two spots in Dallas. It's very much maybe even like a 5-horse race for these two spots. How do you feel your chances are then as we look towards the main event?
I think it's pretty good. I think I was actually watching the Beak interview and I was thinking that I kind of agree that I think a lot of teams, like especially in this meta, like it's a lot about like confidence in the mentals. I think that's like why like there's so many of these upsets. I think our chances are looking pretty good, but I think that a lot of these matches will just come down to like who like feels better on the day.
Because you managed to avoid any upsets in your groups, just about. You obviously had a very scary match against Pirates in Pajamas. Because obviously it was almost a reverse sweep as well, give or take a little bit of heroics from Pelican in the final moments. What was the sort of things that you felt were then going wrong in that, and you, especially when you're just like on the verge of a reverse sweep? Was it just a confidence issue, or what started to go wrong?
I think it was a lot of like tiny things like piling up. I don't think there's like just one thing that was like causing us like to lose like these maps, but I think like a lot of these like little issues that we hadn't like fixed and that like we've been working on like hadn't been like grinded out yet.
And then when you're in that situation, because obviously the nature of a reverse sweep is every time the other team win another map or do very well on an attack, the pressure builds and builds and builds. What was the comms like, or is there anyone sort of saying anything to kind of de-stress the situation or like calm everyone down as it got more and more intense?
Yeah, I think it was mostly me after we got full capped on Junkertown with like 2 minutes. Just like everyone know we could still win and that like we still need to win. So yeah.
I guess it's also good practice because the nature of so many teams having a chance to get to Dallas means almost every game you're going to run into is going to be super high stakes for both teams as we get into the main event. So are you looking for more of how are you planning to handle all these sort of high stakes and high pressure situations?
Hopefully a lot of trash talk before and during the matches. I think that'll help us and not help the other team a lot, as we've seen.
Yeah. Raise the stakes.
Yeah, Gator's been doing good on that front.
Yeah, he's quite a veteran in that sense. And then if we look at your first fixture, You got to play FMCL. How confident do you feel going into that fixture?
I think we're feeling very confident. We played them in the Swiss stage. It was pretty one-sided, I think. And I think we've only like been getting better and better since then. So looking good for that.
Of all the other teams, then maybe Toronto's the obvious answer, but maybe excluding Toronto, which teams are you maybe most scared of or most wary of running into?
I think maybe I don't know, because I think a lot of the like the only team that like doesn't play like Orisa everywhere, I feel like is like just Toronto. Whereas I feel like the Rissamir we're like really confident, so I'm not really like worried about like any other team.
I wanted to ask you a little bit about meta as well, because you actually played quite a variety of stuff compared to a lot of teams, especially maybe in this last week, Nate, you didn't have to play. It almost felt like blanket Orisa in like 90% of situations. Do you feel that's just sort of become almost the default meta? She's too strong and that comp is what we're going to be seeing everywhere?
I think it's easier to play, and I think that the we've been trying with like a couple other things, but it's just kind of hard to tell. And I think that like especially like Europe seems to like a lot of different stuff. As you said, like we haven't scrimmed any Europe, so we'll see how that goes. We'll see the meta read there, but
also one of the things that has been maybe a little bit more prevalent in Europe and maybe a couple of teams in America is there's a sort of this variation between some teams playing Kiri and other teams starting to lean more into BAP or BAP and CAS as well. Do you have any sort of strong opinions on what you feel is better or what you feel more confident in at the moment?
I think they both like they both are like really strong, and I think it's like part comfort and just part like the map. Yeah, I think like Kiriko's obviously very strong, and then BAP's like constant output's very strong, but also like when you have the BAP, like you don't have that Suzu that denies pulse bombs, denies results, denies like everything.
Yeah. And then obviously you've had to be playing a lot of Kiri, as pretty much every flex support in the world has recently. What do you think are the biggest things that separate the best Kiris from those that aren't as good?
I think like the easiest thing like to notice is the Kiri ults. It's like especially against good teams, like you have to like think about like how you like actually get them in your Kiri ult and not like get it kited by like 1-0 or like just completely outplayed. That, and then like I think just not dying. I mean,
yeah,
goes for every support, but especially Kiri.
Yeah, I think especially in this meta as well, and there's lots of things that can go wrong and get you picked in some situations, from like a javelin or just a CAS peeking you or whatever it is.
Yeah, you can get punished pretty easily for misusing your cooldowns or mispositioning.
And then the last thing, and you can't say your own team, maybe the answer's obvious in North America, but who's the favourite for the tournament?
If I can't say my own team, then I'll probably have to say Toronto.
So. Yeah. Do you think there's still? I think a lot of people maybe look at North America and very much seen as sort of like maybe Toronto, then a tier break than the other teams in terms of. Do you think that's still true? That Toronto are like a step ahead of everyone else still and very hard to reach?
I don't think so. I think I'll give you a title. We have the best DPS in the North American region right now, and I think that our teamwork also has been like getting a lot better, and I think that will definitely be a high competitor in this next tournament.
Yeah, well, I think I speak probably for everyone when I think a lot of people, and I'm sure you have as well, been looking forward to the moment where you get your Koreans on low ping in the region and we can maybe see the full M80 potential for the first time.
Yeah, because I think not only just like the low ping, but like I was saying, like I think just like the environment has like changed a lot, just from like this like OWCS to like kind of like budget Overwatch League like environment.
Yeah, well, I think you can't really underestimate how much just having like a comfortable schedule, and like in Overwatch League, teams would always spend like a decent amount of money to make sure the players are comfortable, looked after, nice schedule. So getting all the players in that situation finally, I think is a big boost, really.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much, UltraViolet. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much, and of course, good luck to you and M80 this weekend.
Thank you.